Hello and welcome to another episode of the Top Gun Aerospace Academy. I'm your host, Stuart, StratoCast Level 3, and we're going to be going through today some special weapons systems, including laser-guided bombs and Arrow 4 air-to-ground missiles. So, we're going to start here by adding a couple of fighters, and I'm going to start in our first run here by adding a couple of lightnings. I can spell lightning, there we go. So I'm going to add a couple of lightnings as before. And we're also going to add two others. We're going to add a big fighter. We're going to add the Chippewa. And a Thrush. So we're going to look at some different options as far as these, and we're going to have a little kind of a staggered air assault on a base. So how are we going to look at the lightning? This lightning we're going to go to the equip section here with some laser guided bombs. So we're going to really overdo this. Have 10 laser guided bombs. Other options here you can also have are rocket pods, which I won't go into, but rockets are basically the one use kind of basically the same as the mech version rocket 10s. And if I show you how many you can have of those, you can have up to 10. And so each one is basically a one-shot LRM 10. And we've also got a tag, which we're going to look at in a minute. Air-to-air missile systems, AS missiles, anti-ship missiles. Can't remember what ASEW is. Arrow 4 missiles, which are your standard kind of artillery ones, which aren't guided. Arrow 4 homing missiles, which need to tag to work, and then Inferno bombs, which are evil. Light air-to-air missiles, which are interesting, and then just some variants on bombs. The Thunder bomb, which is a mine-laying bomb. Torpedo bomb, obviously you can drop it in the water and it will attack underwater targets. Fuel air bombs are very bad. I do really wish that they were not in MegaMek, because they do seem to cause a lot of problems when you're playing with aerospace and someone flies over a fuel air bomb. So those are our basic ammunition types there that in the era of 3151. Obviously the tags and Arrow 4 homing missiles become available at different times in the lore, and in 3025 you'll just really have HE bombs and cluster bombs, maybe shield air bombs as well. So we've equipped the lightning with 10 bombs, and so it's got its movement cut as well. And we're going to equip the other lightning to be the tag designator. So interesting thing about tag when it comes to aerospace, if you are tagging something, you can't attack. So you can't have one bomber tag and bomb in the same turn. But there is another way around that, which I can show you in a minute. So we're just going to equip that with a tag. The Chippewa, we're going to really load up. So the Chippewa here, we're going to load up with some Arrow 4 homing missiles. And to show you how this works, you get one Arrow 4 homing missile per 5 bomb slots. So the Chippewa is a 90-ton heavy attack fighter, which means it can carry 18 bombs. So that's 3 Arrow 4s. There we go. And we're going to do okay, and then we're going to load the Thrush with the tag. Now it is actually possible as well, and I might do it as well actually, is to put a tag onto the Chippewa as well, because when you fire the Arrow 4 homing missiles, they don't land until the turn after you fire them. So you can fire them, like with normal missiles, fire them within 8 of the area that you're attacking, and then you basically tag in the next turn as you fly over it. And again, you like with any strafing attack or strike attack, you need to fly directly over the target to hit it. So I'm going to stagger these two groups. So I'm going to bring this group here in here at the beginning, and this group here we are going to have arrive in turn 3. So deployment round, we're going to deploy before round 3. Have a little wave of attacks. And we're going to deploy from the north. Going to configure the player here, deploy from the north. And the map I'm going to choose for this one is another map I've designed. Another 64 by 68 map. Designed this as part of a campaign game. Quite a fun map actually. This is the Great Eagle Agro Works plant. So it's got this nice deep canyon river running down it, and some nice buildings that we're going to bomb. And here we go. I'm going to launch it. If you're planning on messing around with MegaMek like this, make sure that when you go into the victory options, you don't have the victory option ticked that you automatically win if there's no enemy, because otherwise, as soon as you start, you'll basically finish, which is not ideal. And we're going to go straight down for the targets here. So this group here, we're going to target this group of oil drums. If anybody has played with me on MegaMek before and seen my maps, you'll know I have an unhealthy, very unhealthy fascination with explosive oil drums. So we're going to place our jet here. We're going to place it at altitude 5 because anything less we won't be able to do anything more. We won't be able to do the dive bombing attack. You can use tag laser guided bombs for either dive bombing or for aerial bombing, but again, in my opinion, aerial bombing is only really useful for war crimes and not much else, unless someone happens to stand all of their mechs within the same area. Going to deploy his wingman over here. In actual fact, we're going to deploy the wingman slightly behind. You could actually deploy them at the same level, because you can actually have more than one aerospace unit stacked in the same place. We'll do that actually. There we go. Okay, so initiative report, and let's go on to movement. So we're going to go for quite a fast attack run here. So just going to accelerate. Twice should be enough. That should get me over the target. Might have to accelerate 3 times. Oh no, I have to accelerate 3 times. There we go. I'm going to go straight over the target area. And then we're going to follow up with our wingman. And the tag doesn't have to be on a fighter, it could be on any unit if you were doing this with laser guided munitions. The tag unit here, if I forgot to tell you, was actually the tag is actually taking up one of the bomb slots. So you don't have to have tag actually built in, it just takes up one of the bomb slots. And then of course you'll have to work out BV appropriately. So when you're targeting, you pick your target like you do normally, and because we're bombing, we just need to target the ground with tag. We don't target the fuel tank because we're just targeting the ground, because bombing just targets the hex. So I'm going to tag the hex and click fire. and I needed a 1 to hit because it's a -4 to hit because it's a stationary target. So it hits automatically. There you go. I'll call up the round report there. And oh, for some reason it's giving it tag pod clan. Don't know why. So that's tagged. Now when we get into the weapons fire phase, the tagging unit can't fire. It won't let me. But the non-tag unit can, the one with the altitude dive bombing can. So I can click dive bomb. I can go and target the hex there. Target hex for bombing. I can click fire. And now it'll ask me how many laser guided bombs I want to put in. I'm going to drop them all. And done firing. And as you can see, the second guy here, he can't do anything because if I was to try, let's move that back. If I was to try to bomb this or to do a strike attack, so if I target the fuel tank here, it will come up with the warning: airborne unit cannot fire tag and other weapons in the same turn. So it's not like the same as tag on a ground unit where you can tag and fire at the same turn. So gonna skip firing and then let the fireworks begin. And there's the devastation. So we've got our fuel tank explodes, very large fuel tank, other fuel tank explodes, other fuel tank explodes, and lots of damage. But the actual target numbers to hit at the beginning, if we scroll back, you can see the dive bombing needs a 4 and rolls a 6, and it needed a 4 because you only need a 4 gunnery +2 for bombing, and then -2 because it's a laser guided bomb. So it just gives you an extra little bit of precision, maybe stopping some of the bombs from scattering for extra war crimes. Oh, look at that mess. That is a serious amount of mess. Definitely shouldn't have fuel tanks in the middle of your base. So now we've completed our bombing run. We're bingo on bombs, and we are going to head out of the area. And to do that, all we're going to do is fly to the edge. And fly off. There's a nice Union or dropship landing pad there as well. So we're going to accelerate so we can get to the edge of the map. Go to the edge of the map. I didn't quite do this right in my last tutorial, so I'll show it properly now. I just go to the edge of the map, click there and fly off, and I'm going to choose the option that I don't want to return to the map. So I'm leaving the battlefield, I'm fleeing. This used to not work very well on the previous version of MegaMek, but now it works brilliantly. Makes it a lot easier. And you could just come back in 2 turns. Oh. There you go. And needed to actually press on accelerate first. And fly off. So there we go, we've demonstrated the use of laser guided bombs, which is quite a simple use. Very similar just to how you do bombing, but a little bit more accuracy. And again, remember, you're not targeting the mechs, you're targeting just the hex, so they can be incredibly dangerous. And again, they're just like high explosive. So each one's doing 10 points of damage. Okay, timed perfectly. At the beginning of turn 3, we are deploying. So we're going to deploy in a line up here. And we're going to deploy along, let's see if I can remember what line it is. It's going to be along this line here. my turn to deploy. Ah, we're coming from the south this time. Okay, so we're going to deploy there, airborne 5. Oh, the lightnings have come back. That's what confused me. There we go. I'll have to fly them off again now. I must have not, must have clicked on to come back that time. So, and we'll deploy the Chippewa up here. So here's our Chippewa. Going to put that there. Just check it's along the right line. Am I in line for the bomb? No, I need to be over this line. It actually doesn't kind of matter really with this, but we'll see that in a minute. And one bad thing about this Chippewa being so laden down with bombs is it is incredibly slow. And there's the thrush. And it says your turn to declare indirect attacks. So just like with normal arrow systems, you declare indirect attacks at the beginning, and so we are going to declare an indirect attack, and we are going to declare that on this hex. So we're going to target, and again we can just target the this is the tag actually, not the. So we want to target the hex. So we're going to target the fuel tank here. Okay, and once, because it's got the tag and the thing on it at the same time, and offboard homing shots must be the target. Offboard homing shot must target a map sheet. Not sure what that means. Target. There we go, target hex. That's what I wanted. Target hex. Confused me that it says tag there. But we're going to fire our... Oh, it won't let me fire those. Don't know why. So we're going to skip the tag. I think it's done both, you see, because I've got tag and the missiles. We're going to fly this guy off somewhere. He can go off this side. Do you want to return to the map? No. Okay, so first we're going to just basically spend one turn doing a normal move. So we're going to click on accelerate once and just go forward 16. Seems criminal to only go so slow with a thrush, but that's what it's going to do. And now this is when we fire the missiles after in the main weapon phase. But first we've got the tag phase, which we're not doing, so we're not tagging this turn. And now we're going to fire the things. I'm going to skip firing on this. We don't need that one. There we go. And now we can get to fire the missiles. So I'm going to click on the target hex. target the hex rather than the actual thing, because we're only targeting hex at the moment. It'll be the tag that targets it. So I'll right click again just to show you target hex clear, and then we can click on fire. Yeah, it's not allowing me to do it. Why is it not allowing me to do it? Target. No, that's not working. Not sure why it's not allowing me to fire those. Let's try again next turn. So I should have been able to do it in the beginning, in this phase here. Oh, there we go. It's allowing me to do it now. That's strange. So 2 hit. Okay, so this is in the declare indirect attacks phase. For some reason, it didn't allow me to do this in the first turn. I don't know why. So I click fire, fire, and fire. I'm going to fire off all 3 at the same time. Now they're going to take a turn to arrive. So you can see they arrive in 1 turn. So we're not going to be able to tag it this turn, because tagging it this turn will have no effect. So I can just accelerate 1 and fly over them. There we go. And we'll have the thrush, which is acting as a spotter, which isn't really necessary, because in fact the triple L can spot for its own missiles. And now we can't tag this turn because they're not landing till next turn, so we're going to skip firing. So we're in a fire phase now, so we're going to skip that. Click done. And then for our movement phase, we are going to... oh, this lightning's come back again. I thought I told it to go away. Here we go. That seems to be a bug, since both of the lightnings have come back. So we're going to declare indirect attacks. We aren't, because we've already fired, so we're going to skip that. Even if you run out of missiles, it still asks you to declare indirect fire, even if you had arrow at the beginning. And now it's our turn to move, your movement phase. Going to fly the lightning off again. I'm just wondering if this is a bug, because they should. Do you want to fly off the map? Yes. Would you like to return to the map? No. And same thing for this guy. So we fly off here. Fly off the map, yes. Return to the map, no. Okay. So now we can do our movement for our bombing run here. So just going to punch 1 acceleration. And it's important we fly over the target where we're targeting. Now, because we're at altitude 5, we're at no danger of being affected by the artillery. There was a bug earlier on in a different version where if artillery landed in a hex where there was an aerospace fighter above, it affected the aerospace fighter, but I think they've fixed that. So we've flown over the target, so now when we do the fire phase, we can now target the hex here where the 3 Arrow 4 missiles are coming in. So I'm going to target this one, and I'm going to target that with a tag. And that gives me a skill of 4, +2 for air to ground strike, and -4 because it's a mobile, so it's going to hit automatically. And just to show you what happens if you've got 2 tags at the same time, I'm going to target this one. You can actually put 2 tag pods onto the same fighter, just like you can have 2 tags on the same mech, but I think there's a limit to the maximum number of tags you can have is 2 at any one turn. You can't just like put 5 tags. And also remember, guided munitions add BV to every tag that you have. So if you've got 2 tags, you'll add that value twice. So we're going to target this other hex here, and now it asks us when the projectiles come in, because now they come in at the beginning of the fire, at the beginning of the fire phase here. They are going to, because the tag phase is before the fire phase, so they're going to hit the targets that we want. We can actually choose which target we want. Do we want to put it on the fuel tank here, or do we want to put it here? Now, if we put it on the ground, it won't affect anything. That's my mistake there. You should have to hit the fuel tank. You can't hit the ground because, like other Arrow missiles, they only do like 5 points of damage. So we're going to hit the actual fuel tank, and the second one is going to hit the fuel tank, and the third one is going to hit the fuel tank. Imagine this would be quite devastating if you're doing this in game. We're just flying over with 3 Arrow 4 missiles firing into a mech, and boom, there we go. Devastation. So I think the first turn they came on, there was some issue about them not being able to fire the arrows, but in the second turn the Chippewa was able to fire the arrows, and then in the third turn they were able to fly over the target, and they were able to then tag the target, and the Arrow 4 missiles hit the target and set off the fuel tanks. So there's a little guide to 2 useful munitions. Laser guided bombs, which just gives them a bit more accuracy, and Arrow 4 air to ground bombs, which again enables you to use these Arrow 4 guided munitions. Now if you wanted to use just Arrow 4 munitions, then they work pretty much identically to Arrow 4 missiles, where you just click on a hex and they do 20, 10 damage, and you use the indirect fire rules. So basically the target number will be 4 plus, or gunnery plus 7, and then it would scatter. So that's the guide to some special munitions there. We're not going to bother covering rockets because they're quite simple, but we will have a look when we do our air-to-air battle at some of the air-to-air missiles, the air-to-air Arrow, AAA, and then the light air-to-air missiles, and how they affect the game as well. So until next time, fly safe. And we didn't have any music today because the YouTube copyright police have been unhappy at the use of some things, which is why the last video kind of ended abruptly, because I had to cut off the Top Gun music at the end. So maybe this one won't get stuck with a copyright notice. Bye bye.